Welcome to the Awakened Healer podcast. I'm your host, Mary Beth Vanderlinden. I'm an ordained Christian minister, international intuitive healer, healer trainer, speaker, and retreat facilitator. On the Awakened Healer podcast, myself and a wide variety of fascinating guests will share our gifts and divine experiences. I won't shy away from diving deep and asking big questions during these conversations. In turn, we will open up and share our deepest thoughts on spirituality, angels, intuitive development, crystals, healing of all kinds, and how bridging ancient wisdom with modern science can bring you to a deep and profound healing in every area of your life. Welcome to the Awakened Healer podcast. I'm your host, Mary Beth Vanderlinden, and today for our episode, I have a special guest, Sharon Lynn Wyeth. I'm really excited to talk to her, and I know you're going to get a lot of great information from her. Her company is called Know the Name. Sharon Lynn Wyeth is recognized internationally as a name expert. She can determine one's strengths, challenges, and the purpose of one's life just by deciphering a person's name. Sharon created nameology science, the study of the placement of the letters in a name. After 15 years of research, followed by 3 years of testing her theories in over 70 countries, she wanted to see if her methodology held true in different languages. And indeed it does. The greatest gift that came from developing nameology science was being able to see all people as one, as our basic desires remain the same regardless of where we live or what culture we're experiencing. Today, she assists the HR departments of different businesses in narrowing down the candidates to be interviewed, assists lawyers in how to present cases to judges, and couples and families on how to better communicate with each other. She also creates names for new businesses and new products. Sharon is a frequent guest on both radio and television. And I know she has her own radio show also, so I'm sure she'll share that with you. So Sharon, welcome. It's great to have you here today. And I'm excited to talk to you and find out a little bit more about all of this.
Well, Mary Beth, it's extra exciting to be here on your show because in your name you have such likability and fairness issues and just, competitive and understanding people's emotions. It's just wonderful what you have in your name.
Oh, we'll have to talk more about that as we get into the show and give people some examples. So, what exactly is nameology science?
It's the study of the placement of the letters in a name to literally reveal for you how someone thinks, feels, and behaves. So in other words, in our instant society where everybody has credit cards because they don't want to wait to pay, they want everything like now, the one thing that usually takes time is getting to know someone. But if you know nameology science, all of that is right there the minute they say their name. And I always ask, would you mind spelling that for me? And as they're spelling it, I'm analyzing it. So right away, I know who I'm speaking with. I don't have to wait and be surprised.
Oh, very good. So I have an interesting question. My name changed. Like I was given a birth name. And when I was growing up, my family was Catholic and the priest refused to baptize me with the name that they had given me, which was Beth. And he said that wasn't a saint's name. He wouldn't baptize me. And so my mom went back in and actually changed. And he said, her name is to be Mary. So she went and changed it to Mary, but she wasn't willing to let go of the Beth. So it was Mary Beth. And when she went back with that name, he wasn't going to do it again and said, no, it has to be just Mary and everything, but she wouldn't switch it. And so it stayed like Mary Beth. So if that wasn't your original birth name, how do you know what name to really go by?
Whatever is on the original birth certificate is the one that shows your blueprint for this world and your timing. When are you going to focus on what? However, whatever name you're going by shows your current personality in how you're going about your blueprint and getting that solved.
Okay. Yeah, I always wondered. I thought, okay, well, I've got two different names. One only lasted a few days or a few weeks or something. So interesting. So the first one really still does have something to do with that. So yeah. Well, I just have so many questions running through my mind. I just find this so fascinating. What are the benefits of knowing how to interpret a name?
Well, you know how somebody learns, you know their communication style, you know what you need to do if you want a long lasting relationship with them, what's important and keeps their interest. For an example, Mary Beth, for you, if somebody wants a long lasting relationship with you, one, they need to be honest. But the really big thing is, even honest people you can get bored with. Somebody has to keep coming up with something interesting that keeps your attention, that keeps you learning. Because if not, you get bored, and then through nutrition or attrition, whatever they call that, you'll let them go eventually. So if somebody
Okay.
wanted a long-term relationship with you, they have to come and constantly be learning and sharing what they're learning with you so that you're also learning from them, because that's what keeps your interest. So that shows up in a name. Your love style, how you like sex, how you learn. I mean, all kinds of things show up in a name. We all have 7 lessons that we came here to learn, and all 7 of those show up in the name. And the coolest part is what you need to do to learn those lessons and how you go about solving your challenges also shows up in a name.
That's funny. Yeah, it's very interesting. And when you were saying that about keeping you on your toes, I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds so much like me, because I even like with jobs, like I learn them and then I'm like, okay, well, I know that now, and then I'm on to the next thing. You know what I mean? And so my favorite job was, I worked for Pillsbury years ago, and they decided they wanted their own Girl Friday, and because I had top security clearance with them, I was like in the running, and that was my favorite job, because every day when I went to work, I never knew if they were going to send me to word processing or to create a new job and then interview and hire the person and train them, or to run their corporate conference center. And so it was like constantly something new, and you were always learning, and it was really challenging, and I loved it, just loved it. So I'm like, okay, well, I can tell you your science works, because that did explain me. Yeah.
But there's
With my
so
dad,
many
who stayed
things.
at the same job for like 30 some years, and they're like, there's something off with that girl. She's constantly changing jobs and everything. But, because of that, I learned like so much, and it made what I do like so much easier to do.
Well,
So,
that's because you get excited about learning. Now, there's some people that they like to do the same thing over and over again. That gives them comfort because
yeah.
then they know what they're doing. But in your name, it says you've got to keep learning. So if somebody wants a long-term relationship with you, they have to keep offering new information so that you can learn from them.
Okay. Do you hear that, guys? Yeah. Yeah. Um, Well, like, why does this work? I know it's something scientific, but like, is there more like of a nitty gritty to it?
It works because it's just patterns, but there's 2 reasons really why it works. One is when there were still only 7 religions on the planet, according to um, Dr. Eugene Whitworth's work, they all overlapped in 10 basic things that they agreed upon. And one of the things they agreed upon was that the incoming soul impresses upon the one naming them what they want to be called. And therefore, we name ourselves. Now, there's another reason it works is there's a science called cymatics. It's Cymatics, and that is the study of sound. And what they have found is that certain sounds literally changes your DNA. So whatever sounds you identify with, then your DNA morphs to match those sounds and be compatible with them. And what do you identify with most is the sound of your name. Because when somebody says your name, you go like, oh yeah, that's me. And if somebody says, who are you? You answer with your name as if that says it all. And it
Right.
does if you know nameology science.
Interesting.
So it's just patterns. And so many people, Mary Beth, say, are you psychic? And I say, anybody can learn nameology. I don't think you can teach somebody how to be psychic.
No.
But I think you can definitely teach them how to do nameology. And some of the people I've taught are just as good at it as I am.
Interesting. Yeah. So there's just so many questions running through my head to do with this. So what are all the things that our name tells you about us? Like you mentioned even like how you like sex. I thought that was really funny. I thought, I got divorced in 1999 and I haven't gone on a date since. I don't even know what that is. Yeah.
Well, my kids would always say if I was going to go on a date, because I became a single parent when they were 8 and 9.
Yeah.
And so if I went to go on a date, it was very rare. And my kids would say, what's his name? He had to have passed the name test.
Funny. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. So, like my daughter, her name is Alicia, Alicia. What is the basic premises of that name?
Does she have the same last name as yours?
Her last name, well, she's married, and so it's Davis now. Does it go by her original name or?
Well, the personality would go by the name she's going by, but her challenges and everything would go by the birth name. Okay. And the blueprint would go by the birth name. So in her personality, it's like she can work really, really hard and long. It's like she's got a battery going, but all of a sudden when the battery goes dead, whenever that is, it's like she drops and she's done for the day. It's like, okay, now I'm done. And then she doesn't want to have to get up. And if she could get somebody else to go to the bathroom for her, she'd be more than willing to do that, because once she's done for the day.
It's so funny.
Okay. She's very independent. She likes to be in charge of herself. She doesn't want somebody else to tell her what to do. That's just like, okay, that doesn't work for her. She doesn't need to be in charge of anybody else, but she doesn't want anybody else in charge of her. She made herself likable, but she's not going to change who she is to get somebody to like her. She's got a lot of self-confidence. And at the same time, she's overly sensitive to other people's criticisms. And she's like a people pleaser. She wants to please other people. So she's working for appreciation more than she's working for money. Now, one of the challenges in her name is that she doesn't always see things clearly. It takes a while to be able to figure out what's really going on. It's like part of her structure is on sand where the rest of it's on cement. And so anytime you go into the area that's on sand, it's like she doesn't see it. She doesn't see it clearly. It's an illusionary thing. So one of the things she came to learn is how to see through illusions to see what's real or everlasting versus what's temporary and an illusion.
Oh, I'll definitely have to have her listen to the show. Some of it, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, do you know her? Yeah. So it really does work because you're across the country and you've never met her and everything. So so much of what you were saying, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so her. So what more can you tell us about this? Like, what about you help people name their business and
their products. And I help HR companies with hiring so that they hire right the first time and become the hero of their company instead of costing their company a lot of money by hiring incorrectly, right? Because you never know who you're really getting otherwise. They may appear wonderful, and on paper they can appear wonderful, and then you get them and you think, oh my gosh, and so it scoots those people out so that doesn't happen. Also, HR people will ask me and say, their yearly review is up. What do I want to tell them? And I always laugh because I think you've been working with them the whole year.
Right. Yeah. Like, why don't you know more about them by now?
But it's okay, because I look at their 7 things in their name, what they came to learn. And then I think, how would that apply in their job? And so they can learn more about those 7 things, or 1 or 2 of them, within their job. And so that's what I always recommend. And then the other thing HR people will hire me for is that they have employees that are not getting along. And so you just do a comparison between the two names and you can see why this one's not getting along with that one and vice versa. And the easy thing to do to make it work. And so you make those suggestions. And that's lovely. And then I get to work with lawyers in choosing juries and in how to present a case to a judge so that your client knows you're working on their behalf and you're pinging the judge on their own issues so that they have more identity with your client than with the other one.
Oh, how funny.
So that's really fun. And then I work with a lot of individuals who just want to know more about themselves or want to know their purpose and why they're here or want some problems solved because solutions are always in the name or how to get along better with someone. And a lot of parents will call me and say, our baby's going to be born and what should I name them? And I always say, when the name comes to you and you've got a name, then call me and I'll help you spell it. Because you want to leave the lessons that the soul wants, but you want to make those lessons come in easy, so that the soul doesn't have to work as hard to get the lesson.
Right. That makes sense. So with naming a business, so if a person just on their own, or they feel like led by spirit that like this should be the name of your business.
Mm-hmm. Some people will give me that name and then I'll say, this is what that name means. So then you can decide if subconsciously what is being heard or felt by that name by others is really what you want or don't want.
Okay. Okay.
And sometimes it's a tweaking of spelling and sometimes it's a substitution of a word. I'm working with a company right now that had a word in there, a combination in there that just literally said, don't trust us.
Oh, wow.
And so I said to them, do you really want people to hear your title and not be able to pinpoint why they don't want to work with you? Because they're going to feel that vibration of don't trust us.
That is so fascinating.
And so, hopefully I can help people by not hiring the wrong person in the wrong job or by getting the wrong name. I even help people name their books. Because I have them fill out a very three questions, questionnaire. And I literally ask those questions. And from what they give me, then I come up with book titles for them. And they're usually very happy with it. And I can just say, I narrowed it all down and this is my second choice, but this is my number one choice. If it's somebody that values their time a lot. You don't have to connect first. It's just a mental thing. But if you have in the name where you have to make that personal connection first, then I go through the whole process with them. So if they just want the answer, it can take 5 minutes. They don't see all the hours that I've put in behind the scenes.
Right.
But if they have it in their name that they need to connect first and have that personal touch, then I literally summarize and walk through, and it takes me about a half an hour to 40 minutes to go through all the iterations of what I went through before I came out with the final name. And then they feel better because they've connected first. And so it's helpful to know from their name what they need.
Yeah. I mean, I could see where that would be such a benefit. And to have a product or a book, named in this way, wouldn't it be more likely that it would be like a bestseller or, that the product would do well?
Yes, the answer is yes, because people feel good about it right away.
Okay.
And speaking of books, mine is Know the Name, Know the Person. And the Kindle version has been an authentic bestseller for quite a few years now. And you can get it in a regular copy also, or you can get it off my website, which is knowthename.com, which is where it's the least expensive.
So I thought I remembered this, but maybe not. Isn't your book translated even in different languages?
It's in the process of being translated into Spanish. The first 5 chapters have been translated. Yes, so I have someone from Spain that's translating the book. She's now sent me 5 chapters of it in Spanish. And I think what's really funny is sometimes she'll send me the finished piece and I'm correcting the grammar because I'll catch little things. And then she'll go, why aren't you translating this? And I'll say, because I don't remember the Spanish. I tested out and then didn't use it.
Oh,
But I catch some little things and then I send it back and I say, have somebody on your side look over your work before you send it to me. And then when she sends it all to me, I'm going to send it to another Spanish speaking person to grammatically check it, because I mean, I can catch some, but I'm not going to catch all of it.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Do you have any idea when that's supposed to come out?
I have no idea, because like she did 2 chapters in the last 2 months, but there was a gap of 3 chapters, 3 months before that. So she's doing it on her pace and her timing. So when it gets done, it gets done. But I'm really hoping in 2019.
How many chapters are in the book?
Oh, you know what? That's interesting. Okay, just like at 9, 10, 11, 12. I think there's 12.
Okay, so she's not quite halfway even.
Right.
Yeah. Well, hopefully she'll step up the pace. Yeah.
Well, the most exciting thing that's happening on this end is, we have seminars that teach this, and we have a level 1 and a level 2. And after you've taken a level 1, you can go out and read somebody's name, and you have enough information and knowing how to interpret it that you can give an hour reading. Okay.
Wow.
And then if you take level 2, then you can work with the businesses and you can give up to an hour and a half reading, because you even know the subtleties that come in the names. But the most
where do you hold these seminars?
Normally they're either held in San Antonio, Texas, or they're held in the Tri-Cities area of Tennessee. They've been held different places, like in San Diego, California, and in Boise, Idaho. But right now, those are the 2 locations that we're using the most.
Okay.
But the really exciting thing to me anyway, and for your listeners, is that the second book, which is Know the Name, Know the Spirit, literally talks about what does the soul want. Because the soul may not always be agreeing with the personality. The soul wants to learn this or have this experience, and the personality may say, yeah, right, no, I don't think so.
I love that.
And so we're doing a seminar for the very first time on Know the Name, Know the Spirit. It'll be done this February, and it is 3 solid long days. And what's really cool about it is we're going to be exploring from a spiritual aspect, so that you can look at somebody and see what was intended from a soul's perspective for this particular person for this lifetime, based on the placement of the letters in their name.
I love that. Well, you don't know when in February it is.
It's February 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Oh, 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'm going to be gone. Okay. When, you don't know when you'll do it again after that.
Probably not until 2020, but we're hoping to tape this one so that if people want to buy the CD set of it, they can.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I would love to learn more about this. I think it's just fascinating. I love it. Well, I hope that you will come back and join us again at some point, maybe, after the book comes out or after you've done this conference, when you can tell us more about, I love this, where it's Know the Name, Know the Spirit, because I'm all about being spirit-led.
Well, that book is out. That book's been out for 2 years. And the new book coming out in January 7th, is Know the Name, Know How to Connect. And the ebook version will be absolutely free. It'll be my gift to people. If they want the hard copy, it's only going to be $12.95. I want to make it so reasonable, because today everybody's got their face in their phone. And you're so distracted by all the stimulus that's coming around from all the different electronic devices that we're losing how to connect to somebody and how to stay connected. And so in this particular book, I have literally extended chapter 2 from the first book and just filled in a lot more detail. And it's really, what about our communication style, and how do we connect, and what's somebody's love language, and what's their learning style, and how do they get their lessons? And it's so much information, and I'm just interpreting the first vowel of the first name. And it's the whole book, so you can just easily go to your vowel and learn more about you. Or if you're seeing somebody, you can just learn about their first vowel in their name. And there's only 6 first vowels. And just knowing that much information, it'll help people connect with each other faster and to know what to say and how to say it versus what not to say that turns people off right away.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm excited. I'd like to read all the books. Yeah. So I'm sure my audience loved getting all this information from you. I'm very excited about all of it. And tell us, how can we connect with you? What is your website? Like, it's
knowthename.com. So if you're driving and you can't write it down right away, and later on you say, oh, I need to know the name of that website. I need to know the name. Oh, yeah, that was it. Know the name.
That was it. That's
And
clever.
then how to email us, which is the easiest way to connect with us also, is info@knowthename.com.
Oh, very good. Well, have you got one last tip for us?
Yes. In everybody's name that I have found, everybody likes to be given credit for being a little bit smarter than they may be, than you may interpret them. So give them the benefit of the doubt. And then only if they ask more questions, elaborate more, but give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to understand what you're saying the first time.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time, and we will have you back.
My pleasure, Mary Beth, anytime.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed day, everybody. Thank you for joining me on the Awakened Healer podcast. Did you enjoy the show? If yes, please subscribe and give me 5 on a review, that is, on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a review or your comments and let me know what you loved or would love to learn about on future shows. We all need encouragement, including me. Find out more information on my website at spiritledhealinginstitute.com. Be blessed, and remember, if you're good with you and good with God, you're good.